It is Wednesday, and you all know what that means. It is time for the Life in the Movies podcast with Ryan and Jacob. I'm one of your co-hosts. My name is Ryan. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We've got a lot. This is going to be a busy podcast episode, to be certain. Jacob and I are going to be doing our April preview. April promises to be a very busy month for movies. I don't know if you all heard, there was an Oscars ceremony last night, but it was kind of blasé. We'll do a bit of a brief rundown on that. And Jacob watched Daredevil episode 2, and he really loved it. And I'm so looking forward to hearing about that. But for all that, I got to bring him in. So here's the man. Here is Jacob Martin. Jacob, how are you?
I'm doing really good, Ryan. I had a great time watching this episode of Daredevil. Things have been really good life-wise. I actually just spent the past weekend, me and my dad actually went to our local 4-H center. Like every year, our local churches gather together. We have like a men's retreat where a bunch of men from a lot of congregations around would gather together. It's like a series of different lessons. There's good food. There's incredible singing. And it's just a great time. We're a great event, a great spiritual event that kind of boosts us up. And it was a great experience. I've been to this event for several years now. What's funny, 2020, because they always do it in March, we were able to do this retreat in March. It was like a week before everything shut down. So we were very lucky to have this event before everything just went crazy throughout 2020. Of course, they didn't do it last year because of the whole pandemic thing. So it was a blessing for them to do that again so we can go to this retreat and just have a good time, have a good fellowship, and just have a great experience all around. I highly enjoy this event. And it was all around a great time. I hope you're having a good time too, Ryan.
I am, and that sounds like a lot of fun. I remember when I was younger, I was in my church's youth group my whole like teenage life, and when Disney had this Disney World in Florida, they had this event called Night of Joy, where every year a bunch of Christian bands would come in, like Mercy Me and Chris Tomlin, and I can't. Those are the only two I can think of right now. But a lot of the biggies came, and they did like live performances, and it was Christian music all night long. And what we would do is that we would meet like in like the morning. We would get passes into the park, and we would go around the Magic Kingdom, and then at night would be the concert. And it was a very long day. We didn't get back to town till like 2 or 3 a.m. usually, but wow, so much fun. I like fun, but also fulfilling in the I hate using the term spiritual sense because I think it's a bit of a cop out. Is like, oh, I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. And like, again, that means what exactly? But spiritually, for me, that was like just like the wellspring inside of me filling up. Like it was beautiful stuff. Sadly, Night of Joy, I think no longer exists. Universal Studios does Rock the Universe, which is a bit of a similar vein, and I was thinking about going to that, but it just will never be the same. As I alluded to, there was the Oscars last night. We're recording this on a Monday night. So there was the Oscars last night, and neither of us watched it. However, there were two specific things that really did come out of the whole blessed affair, and one of them involving Will Smith just pretty much slapping the taste out of Chris Rock's mouth because Chris Rock made a joke at the expense of Jada Pinkett Smith. And honestly, I have nothing unique to add to the discourse. I'm pretty sure Jacob doesn't either. We didn't watch it. I'm sure we both ended up watching it later on some kind of social media, if not all of it. But I guess my two lone cents on the matter is that nobody really looked good out of this scenario. Will Smith, who by the time this is being recorded has gone on his Instagram and he has apologized, so this has officially become water under the bridge. But wow, talk about something that just And it's especially sad because Will Smith literally won an Oscar for King Richard last night, and no one's going to talk about that. Everyone's going to remember him going like, "Hi, Chris," and then telling him to keep his wife's name out of his mouth. Like, it's going to be a forever asterisk next to that Oscar win, and it's really sad.
Yeah, I don't really have that much extra to say. It blew up all over the internet. Like even like I was about to go to bed the Sunday night. It was even popping up on Twitter like Will Smith smacked Chris Rock. What? And to me, I didn't pay much attention to it till the next morning. And I'm like, okay, it's still popping up. I want to know who won. I'm curious about all the stuff that won. And no, everyone was talking about Will Smith smacking Chris Rock. And I don't really have too much say on that. I think they're both kind of in the wrong. Chris Rock, his joke was probably in poor taste. Will Smith smacking him was probably not the best thing to do, especially in a public event like the Oscars. It's just sad to me that, you know, the Oscars have stooped so low now to where everyone's only talking about the actual controversies and events surrounding the Oscars than the actual movies and people that won. And to me, that's like reason number, random insert random number here why the Oscars are a joke to me.
Yeah, I stopped watching the show a long time ago. I ended up watching Point Break for the first time last night. It's so good, but that'll be in my review coming up this coming Sunday, so stay tuned for that. And I don't want to talk about this whole Oscars debacle any longer than we have to, because we do legit have a very busy show. So let's try and put a pin in this. But I guess the last thing that I will bring up is that there were several jokes made at the expense of animation. And at first, when I heard whispers of this, I'm like, it's clearly social media, like harping on something else. But then I looked up the comments that they made, and they weren't like the worst, but wow, they were just super condescending and super outdated, because they called basically animated stuff like stuff for kids, and not even like maybe on the cusp of teenagers, is like little kids, like the stuff you to take like summer camps to, and take them to shut them up for 90 minutes to an hour 45. And I mean, I feel so insulted. And to be fair, Phil Lord, who directed Mitchell's versus the Machines, one of the directors, went on there and said, yeah, you ladies are completely wrong. And yeah, that's absolutely correct. But it's just, I don't need Amy Schumer, of all people, saying, I have a toddler and I've seen Encanto 150 times. Just, it just, all-time dumb, smooth brain takes on the part of these people. Like, if you really looked at just the rabbit hole, not the rabbit hole, but like the animated movie Iceberg, like, it's not just for kid stuff. I've seen some dark animated movies in my life. The Dark Knight Returns, the adaptation of the Frank Miller graphic novel, just some of the darkest stuff I've ever seen. South Park got a movie made about it, and that movie has legit 399 curse words in it. They had to do one more to get NC-17. Ralph Bakshi made some of the dirtiest movies ever, animated. It just, I don't know. Like I said, I feel like we've talked about this too much already, but
Yeah, I didn't actually see the clip that people were riled up about, but that was the other thing that popped up on social media was like, oh, the Academy threw shade at animation and said it was just for kids. I'm like, it doesn't surprise me because I wish they paid animation a little bit more respect, honestly. I feel like they only made Best Animated Feature as a way to say, hey, we don't have to nominate our animated movies for Best Picture because so many people complain all the time. And it's just sad. There's a lot of great effort that these animators do to entertain not just kids, but people like us who appreciate animation for the incredible work that it is. And it's really embarrassing, honestly. And I feel so bad for these animators, and I appreciate the ones that are defending themselves after that really poor joke. But the Oscars are so dumb. I'm not a fan of either of these
Yeah,
instances.
let's put the period at the end of the sentence. But have you all seen any of the Oscar stuff? First of all, I'm so sorry that you wasted 3 hours of your life. By the way, it was longer than last year's ceremony, and they legit cut categories for time constraints. Clown show, the whole lot of them. But anyway, leave your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to read them. But anyway, Jacob, let's dig into the April movie preview. Now, usually on the podcast, we talk about the stuff that we've been watching lately. However, there's a lot to cover in the month of April, so we're going to be skipping it this week, and we will more than come back to it in the next week. But let's dig into the April movie preview. Starting off the month is Morbius, and you said in your DM, fingers crossed, because this was in our January preview, and like the day after the episode got released, it was delayed yet again. And I still have a sliver of hope for this movie, but at the same time, I'm super concerned because some of the reactions have come out and they have not been pleasant. But it's coming out this Thursday. We are officially in Schrodinger's movie territory. It's either going to be good or bad. We just have to open the box for ourselves. I can't remember what 1 through 5 grade I gave it initially. I think it was a 4. I think I'm going to knock it down slightly to a 3.5. Jacob, what about you?
Yeah, the more this movie is delayed, it's one of those cases where the less and less I'm excited for it, which is weird because some of the other like movies that got delayed because of COVID, my anticipation was more heightened because I was excited to see these movies. But with Morbius, I just don't care about this movie anymore. I mean, the early negative buzz isn't really helping at all. Maybe it could be a pleasant surprise, but yeah, I don't really care at this point. My rating is dropping. I think I gave it like a 3 on our January preview. I think now I'm going 2. I just don't really care for this movie anymore.
Yeah, in pro wrestling speak, this movie has been booked into oblivion, meaning that it's been booked less often and less often about it to the point where people just straight up just don't care about it. But anyway, let's move on to The Bubble. This is a Netflix movie about people trying to make a movie in October 2020 during the whole raging pandemic thing. And I actually covered this with Rachel on our March and April streaming preview. And my thoughts kind of remain the same. I think there's potential here. Judd Apatow is behind this one, so it could be funny. But I think I'm going to go middle of the road here and go 3 on this one. I think pandemic movies, it just depends on the subject material, but I think Steven Soderbergh's Kimmy was like the only one that really made me like feel like, okay, this was worth making during this time. But anyway, that's another conversation for another time. Jacob, what about you?
Yeah, I saw the preview for this and I was rolling my eyes during this whole thing. Like the whole fact that you're making a movie about COVID and making a comedy about it, it looks like it could be done in poor taste, honestly. I didn't laugh at all during this trailer. I was just rolling my eyes during some of the jokes they were trying to make about masks and social distancing and trying to save the movie theaters and all that. I'm like, I don't really want to relive that watching a movie, especially a comedic movie. So, yeah, this one's not doing it for me at all. I don't think I've seen I'm not as familiar with Judd Apatow, so I can't like judge him as a person or anything like that. But this movie, I don't have any real interest in seeing this one. I guess if I had to rate it anticipation wise, I'm going 1.5.
Yeah, that is fair. But well, let's move on to The Contractor. This, I believe, is an exclusive to Paramount Plus. If correct me if I'm wrong on that one, but this
The
does.
trailer I watched, it said I think you can watch it either in theaters or on digital, which is interesting. I've never seen that happen before.
Oh, I could have sworn this was Paramount Plus. But anyway, The Contractor. This starred Chris Pine and Kiefer Sutherland. I hadn't seen that dude in a while. As seeing him in anything just makes me perk up because I'm a big 24 fan and I love him in movies like The Lost Boys and Flatliners and stuff. So it's always nice to see him. I don't know. This kind of feels like something that we all have seen before, like the washed up military veteran who can't fit in modern society but is brought in for one more job, and that one more job turns out to be like the hardest thing he's ever done. I think it's kind of like a been there, done that affair. I think I am, because I do like a lot of the parts in this movie, like some of the actors here. I am going to go with a 3. I am actually optimistic for this one. Jacob, what about you?
Yeah, this is another one where, like you said, it looked very run of the mill, been there, done that. I like some of the story threads in other movies, but since I've seen it so many times, I don't think this one's going to add anything new to the table. And I was just kind of bored watching the trailer. Even though I like some of these actors like Chris Pine, this one, again, it's another one I don't have any huge interest in seeing. I'm going 2 out of 5 on this movie.
Yeah, that's a good guess, but or not a good guess, but I agree with I agree with you. Next up is Better Nate Than Ever. This is a Disney Plus exclusive, and this is based on a book, I believe, and I had never heard of it. Watching this trailer, I was like, wow, this could actually be a sleeper hit. I mean, like people have just been like, it's been like a musical like haven like the past couple of years. Like last year alone, we got In the Heights, Tick Tick Boom, like uh,
West
uh,
Side Story.
West Side Story. Thank you, I was blanking on that. So if this is going to be like a musical paradise for a couple years, I would definitely be down for that. I think I'm going to go a little more lenient on this one. I'm going to go 3.5. I think this looks like it could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that. I am a sucker for these like musical underdog type stories. And even though the movie does look cheesy, it almost has the feel of a Disney Channel original movie. That's how I felt when watching the trailer. But there's actually some above average Disney Channel movies. I love the High School Musical movies, for instance. So this could be good. I'm not going to keep my hopes up because Disney Channel has made some stinkers over the years, but I'm I'm going to give this one a fair chance. I'm going to go 3 out of 5 for this one.
Yeah, and the Disney Plus exclusives have definitely been hit or miss. Like a big miss was Home Sweet Home Alone. That was number
Oh,
2 on my least favorite movies of the year list. I got actively angry watching that movie, and if it had not been for Dear Evan Hansen, oh, it would have been number 1. But it'll be interesting to see how Better Nate Than Ever is received, considering the reception of things like Tick Tick Boom. If it even lives up to the quality of that, then Disney could have like something on their hands there. Next up is a Netflix exclusive, Apollo 10 and a half. And I had no idea what to make of this. I was like, Apollo, so this is definitely a space movie. I love those. But then this is like a 2D animated movie, and it's directed by Richard Linklater, or at least he has his hands on it. And so I'm actually subtly looking forward to this one. I'm going to go strong and go 4 on this one.
yeah, I did not know this movie was coming out when I was looking up the movies. I didn't know this was a thing. I didn't know Richard Linklater was into animated movies. Apparently, he made one of like a like 20 years ago, I think now, called A Scanner Darkly. I've heard about it, haven't watched it, but apparently that was an adult animated movie as well. This looks really intriguing to me because it's set in the 60s. It's set during the space race. It's exploring the 60s culture, and it looks like it's taking itself seriously. And this is a movie to show those Oscar people, hey, animation's more than just a kiddie thing. You got to show this, and maybe it'll do well to where it can get Oscar nominated for Best Animated Feature to prove the haters wrong. I don't know. But I'm actually really looking forward to this. I like the animation style from the trailer, and it looks like it's going to be one of those nice slice of life movies that Linklater is best known for doing. I'm actually really hyped for this one now, and I'm going 4.5.
Yeah, Linklater making animated space movies. There you go. There's a
Yeah.
scene where I believe they like the kid makes like a Frito pie, like in like the Frito bag, and I was like, people used to do that back then. That looks amazing. But anyway, that should be really good. Next up is Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and I did not need to rewatch the trailer for this because I have seen it literally everywhere. I cannot escape this trailer, but that's not necessarily a bad thing in this case. The first Sonic movie was a lot better than I was expecting it to be. It was a lot of fun. And this, it seems like they're doubling down on it. They got Sonic looking correct this time, no design controversy this go around. Knuckles is looking good, Tails is looking good, and by no means am I a Sonic fan. I'm very much a Sonic layman, if you will, but my friend Phil, who actually has his own YouTube channel, Phil Talks Sports, is a humongous Sonic fan, and he's like my Sonic barometer. He is hyped beyond belief for this movie. So I'm gonna go a strong 4 on this one.
Yeah, I kind of my unpopular opinion. I was not that crazy on the first Sonic the Hedgehog. I like that they redesigned Sonic because that old design was a travesty. There's fun moments, but it didn't feel like a Sonic movie to me. It was just Sonic on Earth hanging out with James Marsden, and it doesn't become a Sonic movie until the third act of the movie, and that was when the movie was a lot of fun. However, I feel like the mistakes they made in the first movie, I think they're fixing in this sequel. It looks like it's going to have more Sonic action. We're going to have characters like Tails and Knuckles, who were part of the Sonic games, that will hang out in this movie, and I'm excited to see that. And I think it's going to feel more like the spirit of what the Sonic video games were, and I'm excited to see that play out. And the early buzz for this, I've heard, actually really good. I actually saw one person on Twitter say Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is the Godfather Part 2 of video game sequels. I'm like, wow, that's a high praise right there. I am looking forward to seeing this one a lot more than the first. And I'm actually going to go 4 as well. I agree.
Yeah, and give props to the design team because they got Sonic looking good. They got Knuckles and Tails looking good. Like, if you were to tell someone this is a Sonic movie, like, there's no way that you could dispute this. Like, oh, this is the Legend of Zelda movie that I was waiting on. No, this is a Sonic movie, it's looking like, and it should be a complete and total blast. I just hope they do the theme song at some point. The Sonic, he's the fastest thing alive. I hope they do that at a certain point. But next, let's move on to Ambulance. This is the new Michael Bay movie. I've been a bit of a Michael Bay defender in my time. I recognize that he's made some bad movies, and I will say that the movie he did, Pain and Gain, is one of the worst movies that I've ever seen in my life. I wanted to walk off the planet at certain times while watching that. But the stuff that he's done good, I have actively praised. And all the trailers that I've seen for this is looking like this may be one of the better Bay movies. Again, it's Michael Bay, so it could be good or it could be really bad. So there's no almost like no in between. But after stuff like 13 Hours, it's like there's a good director in there somewhere. He just has to have the right material. But if for nothing else, I'm excited for this because of Jake Gyllenhaal, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, and Ana de Armas. Just for those 3 people alone. So I'm gonna go 4.5 on this one. Jacob, what about you?
Actually, I don't think that's Ana de Armas. That's Isa Gonzalez, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
She
it
was a
is.
baby driver. Ana de Armas, I don't think she's in that movie.
Well, let me take a look here. And yes, you are right. It is Isaac Gonzalez. So that's my bad. My bad, folks.
It's all right. It's an easy mistake. They're both nice to look at.
Oh, true.
Ambulance. Again, I'm kind of hit and miss on Michael Bay as well. I love movies like Armageddon and The Rock. Not a fan of the Transformers movies, especially The Last Night, which is one of the most miserable pieces of garbage I've had to watch in my life. So Michael Bay's very hit and miss, but like you said, Ryan, this movie actually does look intriguing. The trailers I've seen for this movie, it looks like it's going to be a high speed chase, intense thrill ride of a movie. I actually think the performances are going to stand out in this one compared to other Michael Bay movies, especially when you got people like Jake Gyllenhaal, Yaya, and Isaac Gonzalez. I'm excited to see all of those people do what they do, but in a Michael Bay action movie. It could fail because it's Michael Bay. It's a little hard to root for a Michael Bay movie because he's had so many misses. But when he delivers, it really delivers, and I hope this one actually turns out good. I'm going 3.5. The premise looks really intriguing on this one.
Yeah, and it's Michael Bay, and he's like one of the last directors to use CGI more as like a tool in the toolbox, not the entire canvas. So I know for a fact that that ambulance is going to explode, and it is going to be great to see. Well, next up is All the Old Knives. This is on Amazon Prime. It stars Chris Pine. Chris Pine is having a busy April. He's in this and in The Contractor. But he's in this. Sandy Newton is in this. Lawrence Fishburne is in this, and Jonathan Pryce is in this. And this is a kind of premise, this kind of like spy movie where it's like a certain MacGuffin is in a certain place, and it's like, or actually no, an accident has happened, and people had a hand in it, and you got to play a game of like hide and seek, if you will. Like, I'm going strong on this one. I'm gonna give this one a 4.
Yeah, this one actually looks more intriguing. Definitely more intriguing than the other Chris Pine movie coming out this month. I'm intrigued by like the espionage angle that they're going in this movie, and you got the cast, which I think is going to be good. I think it could be a sleeper hit for Amazon Prime, if anything, just to see if the espionage mystery thriller vibe is going to pay off or not. Because if the twist doesn't work, that'll make or break the movie. I think this one's going to turn out okay. I'm going to go 3.5 on this one.
All right, well, next up is Metal Lords. This is yet another Netflix exclusive. And this is about a couple of kids who start up a metal band in a school that has about like 2 or 3 metal fans. But I don't know. This kind of stuck out to me in a good way. I think that this could be fun. I mean, it's a teen movie. I have a feeling there's going to be a bit of a formula there, but I certainly hope that the performances are good. I'm gonna go 3.5 here.
Yeah, this one looks interesting to me. Like, I can take it or leave it on this one. I'm intrigued by the metal premise and the what to do with that in a high school setting because I'm sure there's going to be conflicts around that. I think the soundtrack is going to be dope because you're doing metal music. But watching the trailer, the humor was hit and miss for me. Like, I don't know. I guess being a teen comedy, I know they like to do more gross out gags because it's, immature teenagers. But we'll see how the movie goes. I'm hoping it turns out okay. That's why I'm going 3 out of 5 on this one. But the trailer was very hit and miss for me, especially in the humor department.
No, well, trailers can be a bit misleading sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a case where the trailer is sometimes better than the movie and vice versa. So we'll just have to wait and see there.
I mean, even in the March preview we did, I was kind of in on the Adam Project because the trailer didn't impress me. And then I saw it, and it's currently my second favorite movie of the year behind the Batman. So the movie turned out better than I expected. So it could be the same with Metal Lords.
In the words of King Joseph from Amadeus, there it is. All right, so next up is Father Stew. This is actually, I saw the poster of this before the trailer, and it was actually last week when I was at the theater, I saw the poster for the first time, and I was like, that seems interesting. It's about a criminal who, after getting released from jail, basically becomes a priest. And not gonna lie, I kind of like stories like this, seeing someone kind of unravel their bad habits and turn their past around. And especially starring Mark Wahlberg, people I've seen a lot of Mark Wahlberg slander on the internet. It's like, hey, what are you doing over there? Like, and I've made some jokes myself. I'm not going to lie, but I've always maintained that when he's given the right role, he can be really, really good. And I have a feeling that this could be a potential sleeper hit. I think I'm going to go a little heavier than usual and go 3.5 here.
This is a movie that I did not know was coming out. I've not seen any posters for this. I did not even see the trailer for this movie until when compiling the list and uh, getting ready for this podcast. And so I've only seen the trailer for this once, and I am immediately hooked. I think this movie could potentially be one of the best of the year. I am a sucker for like redemption story arcs in movies, and apparently this is based on a true story. So do not know about this real Father Stu character, how a criminal turned priest. That just seems like a compelling story on paper. And even though Mark Wahlberg, he can be very hit and miss as an actor, but it's more so giving him the right projects because he's done excellent roles over the years. Look at movies like Boogie Nights and The Departed. He was fantastic in both those movies. And I think he's gonna like transform into this character by the end of the day. And I'm excited to see what's gonna happen with this. And then the cast in general. I even think casting Mel Gibson in this movie in a supporting role is no accident, considering the personal trials that Mel Gibson has had throughout his life. I think that's going to be inspiring to see as well, to see that reflect in the art side of things. Hopefully, it'll be a good comeback vehicle for Mel Gibson as an actor, besides him being already a great director with Hacksaw Ridge. This movie's got a lot of makings for it. I hope it's going to be a fantastic movie. I'm going 5 on Father Stu.
Look at you, Jacob, breaking out the five piece here.
Mm-hmm.
That's intriguing. Well, let's take a bit of a hard left and talk about Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. I think I'm gonna go 2 on this one, and it seems a bit harsh, but I love the Harry Potter books, and I do love the movies as well. They mean a lot to me. But these Fantastic Beasts movies have just become more and more tedious by the entry. Like the first one was novel because it was the first Harry Potter movie in 5 years, and it was also a prequel. And then with the Crimes of Grindelwald, which I did not hate, but it just it's answering questions that I did not need to know the answers to. It just feels like J.K. Rowling and Warner Brothers just like trying to squeeze the lemon for more juice like when there is almost like no juice left. I mean, Eddie Redmayne is going to be good, I have a feeling. I can't hate any movie with Jude Law in it. And it could be intriguing, but I don't know, just with the whole J.K. Rowling controversy, which I will not be talking about here, that's well above my pay grade, and just the tedious nature of these Fantastic Beast movies, 2 is it's just me being generous.
I have a lot to say on this one. I am more of a defender of the Fantastic Beast movies. Now, there haven't been anything great about these movies. I do see where you're coming from, Ryan. There were some weird questions that were answered in Crimes of Grindelwald, especially with Nangini. I'm not sure where they're going with that, but I'm intrigued at where the story is going to go. And I think it's because I'm such a sucker for the Wizarding world in general and being such a fan of the Harry Potter movies and books. I'm intrigued to seeing where these stories go. I've been impressed with the trailers for Secrets of Dumbledore. It is going to be hard diving into the movie because besides the J.K. Rowling controversy, I'm not diving into it as well. And the whole recasting of Grindelwald from Johnny Depp to Mads Mikkelsen, I'm still a little saddened over that as much as I love Johnny Depp in the last movie. But we'll see what Mads does in this movie, see where that goes. This movie, I think, could be good. I'm intrigued to see where the story's going to go. I'm excited to see more of like the whole history between Dumbledore and Grindelwald looks fascinating because you know they're going to duel at some point in the movies or this franchise. That's what they're building up to. And I'm excited to see what they're going to do with that. This one, I'm intrigued. I'm going to see it opening weekend. I'm not going very high on this one because I'm not enjoying these Fantastic Beast movies near as much as any of the Harry Potter movies, but I guess we'll just have to see how it goes. Optimistically, I'm going no higher than 3.5.
Okay, I can definitely give it to you there. And in terms of the whole Johnny Depp thing, that whole thing is just a mess. But there are far worse actors they can get than Mads Mikkelsen. They definitely failed upward, or if that is the correct verbiage.
Yeah.
But getting Mads Mikkelsen was definitely like at least like a nice like peace offering. You're like, all right, whole Johnny Depp thing is a mess, but here's one of the best working actors going, Mads Mikkelsen. I'm like, okay, let's see where this goes. And
Yeah, I like Mads Mikkelsen, don't get me wrong. Considering where we went in the last movie with Johnny Depp and how Mads Mikkelsen's looking like a completely different character, I have no idea how they're going to pull this off, but I will give him a chance.
I think they could explain it away with like polyjuice potion or something
Yeah.
like that.
I
Like
mean,
they
even
get
in the
like this.
first movie, it was like Colin Farrell was playing a character and it was revealed to be Grindelwald. I guess it's magic.
Yeah, they can just explain away anything with magic if you really think about it.
We'll
But
have a different actor play him in the next movie.
there you go. Well, let's move on to Duel. This actually we did not see a trailer for at the time of this recording, so I will just read the plot off of IMDb. A woman opts for a cloning procedure after she receives a terminal diagnosis, but when she recovers, her attempts to have her clone decommissioned, fail, leading to a court-mandated duel to the death. Karen Gillan is in this. I've loved her since she was a companion on Doctor Who. Aaron Paul is just one of the best going right now because of the whole Breaking Bad thing. He's awesome. This could potentially be interesting. I think just for the performances alone and for this premise just really sings to me. I'm going to go 4 out of 5 on this one.
Yeah, again, since we don't have a trailer just yet, I can't really be fully excited because I haven't seen any footage. But the premise is interesting. It's got a solid cast. Um, I'm gonna go 3 just for intrigue.
Right, and knowing our luck, the trailer's going to on
Yeah,
drop on Thursday afternoon or something like
yeah, like with no X.
pretty much. Well, let's move on to DreamWorks' next outing, The Bad Guys. And I have now seen this trailer a handful of times, and some reactions to this have already been coming out, and they have been very positive. And so for that, I'm going to go 4.5 on this one. I have a feeling that this could be a home run for DreamWorks. I don't know about you.
Yeah, DreamWorks has had a very rough couple of years. I think the last movie from them I've truly loved was How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World back in 2019. The only one that's come close to matching that, I did enjoy The Cruise 2 when it came out, but some of their other movies haven't really been that good. Abominable I liked, but it definitely paled compared to the best of DreamWorks. I was not that crazy on Trolls World Tour, and I've not even seen Spirit Untamed or Boss Baby 2. They just looked like bad sequels to begin with. So the bad guys, as soon as I saw the first trailer, I was like, this could be one of DreamWorks' best movies in a long, long time. I'm already loving the hyper stylized character animation style, a little bit similar to Into the Spider Verse, but with their own flavor to it. And I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see this premise of uh, bad guys going good pretty much in a comedic fashion. I'm already excited about the voice talents that are being on display here, like Sam Rockwell and Aquafina, just name a few. I think this has the potential to be a fantastic new animated movie that I am excited to see. So because of that, I'm gonna go 5. I'm bringing
Ooh.
out the 5. This one looks fantastic. I can't wait to see this one.
All right, very good. And one thing that I will say about the Boss Baby movies is like Alec Baldwin, I get it. You don't like Trump, but you didn't need to waste 180 minutes of our lives telling us you didn't like him. That's all I will say on the matter. I do not like those movies in the slightest.
I've only seen the first one, and it was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen, and I don't even get how this got greenlit.
It
Honestly,
won Best
there's
Animated Feature, bro. It
how did
won.
that even get nominated? That don't even
Uh,
make sense. It just made the movie worse because of that.
Alec Baldwin has deep pockets, I guess. But anyway, let's move on to The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. This is a trailer that I cannot escape. It's like in every movie. Even I went to see Jujutsu Kaisen Zero with my dad. It's a new Japanese anime movie, and the trailer was attached to that. I can't escape this stupid freaking trailer where where I hear Nicolas Cage go hobby and just like but but the movie does look potentially interesting. I don't know. Just I feel like this is gonna be one of those movies where they're gonna get like too big for their britches and like ruin the sanctity of the Nicolas Cage meme. But I'm gonna go 3.5 on this one.
Well, I'm such a fan of Nicolas Cage, and the more bonkers movies he's in, normally I enjoy him more. So I am beyond hyped to see a meta comedy movie where Nicolas Cage is playing himself and he's making fun of his memes and everything. I think this has the potential to be absolutely brilliant. And I can't wait to see the madness unfold when it comes out in theaters. I'm going to go 4.5 on this one.
Oh wow, big cage
Yes,
match fan, I take it.
I love me some Nicolas Cage. Even like some of his like absolute dumbest movies, I still get a kick out of. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of The Wicker Man, but it's still worth watching for him punching a woman in a bear suit and going, "No, not the face!
Not the
Ah, not
face!
the face!"
Oh god! Out of my eye! Just casually in Con Air, he goes, "Put the bunny down."
Put the
Put
money back in the
the
box.
bunny.
I told you to put the money back in the box.
God bless him trying to do a southern accent and completely whiffing it, but it makes it all the better. Also,
Yes.
shout out to Cyrus the Virus and just one of the greatest like villain kills of all time, where the dude is like in the gasoline and the burning plane, and Psy's got the match, and the dude's like Psy, and then Psy's like Anara. Whoa! Excellent, 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 excellent.
It's a good
Then
movie.
spoiler alert, this movie is a big old 5 from me. It is The Northman, the new Robert Eggers movie. I loved The Lighthouse. It is my favorite horror movie of the 2010s, and this movie looks absolutely stellar. I had to check. This is actually not from A24, and that was news to me because this definitely has A24 vibes to it, but the cast looks really good. It's got Alex Skarsgård, it's got Nicole Kidman, it's got Ethan Hawke. The cinematography looks unbelievable. Willem Dafoe doing Willem Dafoe things is going to be just so much fun. And there's a fight in a volcano, allegedly. This can't be more of a 5 for me, even if I wanted it to be.
I'm not going as high on this one, and that's because there's been 2 movies in my life that I just could not sit down and finish watching. Dune 1984 and The Lighthouse. I could not make it past The Lighthouse. I was bored out of my mind during that movie.
You
And
said you were a fan of me, lobster.
I just gave up on that movie. It was just 2 men arguing in a lighthouse going crazy. It just did not and there was like weird imagery with like mermaids and stuff. I'm like, what is this movie? I feel like I'm wasting my time on this one. Of course, I might give it a second chance if the Northman's any good, but we'll see. I think this has potential. I'm loving the visual style from seeing the trailers. It's got a great cast. It looks like, even though it's going to have like its artistic weird stuff, it looks like it's also going to be a story I can get behind. It's your typical revenge story, but with a unique artistic flair. I think it'll be good. My rating could go up when I actually see the movie. But for now, I'm hoping this one actually delivers for me. And I can finally say, oh, I'm actually digging this Robert Eggers guy because I wasn't crazy about the Lighthouse. So I'm going 4 for the Northman.
Oh, your farts. Your goddamn farts. You're going to come around on the Lighthouse, and I'm going to be there to see it. It's
We'll
going
see.
to happen. It's going to happen. But let's, we've got 3 movies left to cover, so let's take care of those. First up is Along for the Ride. This is a Netflix movie. This kind of looks like teen romance kind of stuff, and I'm not super high on it. However, it did look somewhat intriguing. I'm going to go 2.5 on this one.
Yeah, I don't have much to say on this one. I actually do agree with the 2.5. The romance, when I saw the trailer, it didn't sell me, but it could be a surprise hit. It's one of those cases where the trailer didn't do much, but the movie could be decent. We'll see how it goes. I didn't get much out of the trailer, but it could be interesting. I don't know. I'm not super in a rush to see this one, but I guess we'll just have to go along with the ride, like the title suggests.
Yeah, very good. Well, our penultimate movie is Polar Bear. This is the new yearly tradition of Disney Nature dropping something, and it's looking like it's going to be a Disney Plus exclusive, which it kind of breaks a streak if you think about it. Because I remember the days when a Disney Nature movie would come to movie theaters, and then like the first week's profits would go to like a insert name of nature charity here. I remember those promos all the time. But these Disney Nature films, I've got a bit of a soft spot for them. I mean, Planet Earth and Planet Earth 2 are like the definitive nature documentaries. You can't beat those. But I forever loved the Disney Nature movies just because of the shots that some of these camera crews like get. I just sit there like, how is that even possible? It's like how do you get into like this den of lions without getting completely mauled? And I'm sure they have like a ton of help and guidance and people who are like, stay away from there. Here, that's okay. But seeing this polar bear trailer is like, I'm cold just watching this. So it's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna give this one a 3. I have a soft spot for these Disney nature movies, and hopefully this is one of the good ones.
Yeah, I agree, Ryan. I also have a soft spot for a lot of these Disney nature movies. I remember going to the Dollar Theater in my area. Me and my sister and my mom, we went and saw Earth on the big screen, and we were just blown away by the cinematography of that movie. And we thought it was an amazing experience just to see that on the big screen. Also doesn't help it's narrated by James Earl Jones, which is like double check marks on how awesome that movie is. He's like the best voiceover for a documentary like this. This one, I'm sad it's going to Disney Plus, but it's not the first one. I think when Disney Plus first dropped, they dropped a couple of Disney nature documentaries that were new. There was one about dolphins, and there was another one about elephants. And they were both interesting, solid movies in their own right. This one, I'm intrigued just on the Disney Nature name. All of these Disney Nature films have incredible cinematography, and that's what makes the movies worth watching. The only thing that varies for me is the narration. Like, the narration can make or break a movie. James Earl Jones in Earth, excellent. I think Natalie Portman narrated the Dolphin movie, and she just seemed bored narrating it, and that hurt my enjoyment of the movie. Because if your narrator is bored, then what's the point of watching the movie? I don't know who's narrating Polar Bear, but hopefully they do a good job, and it uh, hooks me into the movie. I'm optimistic on Polar Bear because it's Disney nature, and I'm going 3.5.
I just looked it up on IMDb. The narrator for this is Catherine Keener. of Get Out and the 40-Year-Old Virgin fame.
Okay. Hopefully she cares about polar bears to make it worth our time.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, let's close this off by talking about Memory. This is the second Liam Neeson movie releasing this year. I did not see Blacklight because I heard it was like a next level kind of bad. So I was like, you know what? I think I have my limits when it comes to Liam Neeson. But this trailer did look somewhat interesting, but I have a feeling that like at a certain point it's just going to be like like I don't know, maybe like the Seltzer brother or whoever's the new like parody group, or like the Lonely Island or something like that, are gonna make like a Liam Neeson parody movie, like mocking like Taken and Unknown and all these others. I'm gonna give it 2.5.
Yeah, I'm not really that excited on this one, which is sad because I enjoy Liam Neeson and I have a soft spot for some of these action movies. I didn't see Blacklight either because I didn't have time to see it. And two, people were saying it was really bad. I think if I'm not mistaken, it has like a 6% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is ouch. I don't. That's really bad. But what's really confusing me on this is that the film is directed by Martin Campbell, who directed Casino Royale. And yet I watched this trailer and I felt like I was watching a cheap bargain bin direct-to-video movie. So I don't know what's going on there. I'm not really that intrigued by this movie because the trailer just looked uninteresting. But you got a good director attached in Liam Neeson. We'll see how that goes. Maybe it'll be a surprise hit, or maybe it'll be another death blow to Liam Neeson's action movie career. I don't know. I'm not crazy excited on this one. I'm going to.
All right, very good. Well, let us know what movies you guys are going to be seeing this month in the comments. We'd love to read that. But let's now dive into some Daredevil. We both watched season 1, episode 2 of Daredevil, which is called Cut Man. This is a very Daredevil heavy episode. It's basically Matt Murdock's origin after the blindness, his relationship with his father, battling Jack, and at the same time, this is mirrored against him having a pretty rough night going up against the Russians and taking their bait, which was teased at the end of the first episode. So I'll turn it over to Jacob. Jacob, what did you think of this episode?
I thought it was another great episode. There's so many great things to discuss in this episode. I love seeing the continued flashbacks with Matt Murdock and his dad, Matt recovering from the traumatic experience of the accident and going blind and learning to accept that. We learn more about the development of his powers and the relationship with his father, and how his father got into some really bad dealings and that ultimately got him killed. I loved the whole Daredevil side where he's got in a pretty bad fight where he got badly beaten and he's being recovered. I did not know Rosario Dawson was involved in this series, so it was a welcome surprise to see her in Daredevil. And I thought she was a great companion in helping Matt Murdock recover. I liked her involvement in this episode. I like that this was a Daredevil focused episode where you get to see him doing more crime fighting vigilante stuff. The torture sequence where he tortures that one guy on the top of the roof was brutal, and I loved every second of it, especially when he gets the information, just kicks him off the rooftop. I'm like, dang, that's brutal stuff. Like, that's like, you're like Batman there. I love it. And then we got to talk about that final fight. The final shot of episode 2 of Daredevil involves Daredevil taking down a bunch of goons to save this kid locked in a room. And the whole shot, it is a one-take tracking shot. We follow it for about, 5 minutes, I think. And we see all the rooms in this apartment complex. We follow everybody in the room in the camera shot, and it comes to Daredevil, and he just goes in the room and starts punching people left and right, and we just see it, this one steady shot in the hallway, and he's just punching people out left and right, go woo, 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 woo. punch, kick, everything in between. I'm loving it. He takes them all out. He rescues the kid. They walk out of the apartment. Credits roll, and I'm just like, wow, that was so awesome. That is how you do a fight scene. I loved this episode, Ryan.
Yeah, I was a little worried I was overhyping the final scene, and I was like, because the last time I did that, it was for my friend the Born Identity, and he did not like it all that much. But I'm so glad you dug it. And without going too deep into it, Rosario Dawson is like the thread that weaves throughout Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. But we'll cross all those bridges when we get there. We're just at the tip of the iceberg here. But just I love battling Jack. Like he's not in much of this show, but this is a heavy battling Jack Murdoch episode. That dude, like, he basically was like, he pulled like a Butch Coolidge, but like from Pulp Fiction. But Butch got away, and well, Jack didn't. But he pulled off the impossible, and it was nice to see. And he eventually did end up dying as a result, but he showed his son that that lying down is for, like, you don't lie down for anyone. And so I love that. I love the spirit of that.
Another thing too, like I was 2 episodes in, and I was watching the series. I was like, okay, Foggy, he looks familiar. Where have I seen this actor before? And come to find out that is Fulton from the Mighty Ducks. I did not know that. I was like, wow. It took me 2 episodes to realize that that's Fulton grown up. Man, he's grown as an actor. That's awesome seeing that.
Yeah, and like I said, Foggy does get better throughout the series. He and Matt, they have a nice relationship, and
Yeah.
he is a bit of hard work in that first episode, but as the show progresses, he does get better and better. That's
Yeah,
what
and I do really like the character. He's a good levity character considering how dark the show is. He's a good character to like break the tension and have a good fun joke every once in a while. I like the side story too with Foggy and Karen. They're just kind of chilling, kind of like enjoying life pretty much while Daredevil's doing his own thing. And that was fun to see. That was a good like breaking the tension from an already intense episode, and I enjoyed just seeing a more lighthearted side of the episode. That's cool that the series is doing that. Like you got the dark stuff and the light stuff, and it's balanced very well. I'm very impressed by that.
Yeah, and I love the part where Foggy is like, Karen, you have not lived until you have argued the price of sturgeon with a 90-year-old Okinawa survivor. Or not Okinawa, but Nagasaki or Hiroshima. One of those two.
Yeah.
But if you're worried at all about the disappearance of Wilson Fisk, trust me, like he's gonna be well involved in the show. They take a slow burn approach with this one, and he's played by Vincent D'Onofrio, in case you didn't know, and he is like the definitive Kingpin. You could not ask for a better person to play Kingpin than Vincent D'Onofrio, and he actually. I looked ahead a little in the next episode, Rabbit in a Snowstorm. He actually does make his like on-screen debut. I won't say where or when, but he is like definitively like you see him for the first time. But I love how he is like a specter over everything. Like he's a man of mystery, if you will.
I can't wait to see him in this series.
Well, anyway, the next episode is Rabbit in a Snowstorm, and this is the first appearance proper of Wilson Fisk, and he is definitely the villain of this whole thing, and I cannot wait for this whole thing to just commence, because I know what's going to happen, Jacob, you don't, and it is going to be amazing. But Have any of you seen episode 2 of Daredevil? Leave your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to read what you have to say. And well, that's it. That's another episode in the books. Jacob, thank you so much as always. This was always just a ton of fun. Where can people find you?
Well, they can find me on Letterboxd, Twitter, and Facebook, and you can also subscribe to my 2 YouTube channels. My main channel is by my main name, Jacob Martin, where I do movie reviews, TV reviews, ranking videos, and other fun stuff along the way. I have a wide assortment of content over on that channel. Some recent videos that are on my channel. My recent celebrating Disney review was on 101 Dalmatians 2, the direct-to-video sequel, which is surprisingly one of the better direct-to-video sequels in that strange era in Disney's history. I did a recent Superhero Saturdays review on Wonder Woman, one of the best films in the DCEU. I just recently dropped a review of an anime called Redline, which is a really fascinating 2D animated film, which I had never seen anything like it visually. Definitely check out that review if you're curious. We're recording this on a Monday night, and the video that just dropped on my channel as of recording is for Lethal Weapon for my Richard Donner series. Love that movie, one of my favorite buddy cop movies. Other videos coming on my channel this week. I finally checked out the Smurfs 2 for my Sony animation series. Never seen it before. Slight improvement over the terrible first movie, but still a bad movie all around. I did a vlog in the movies video where I got my sister reacting to the Tony Scott submarine thriller, a little movie called Crimson Tide. And you're going to want to see her reaction to that. She was in love with the film. I enjoyed that one as well. And then last I'm going to plug is my Cinema Roundup video where I share all the movies I watched in theaters and streaming services throughout March 2022. That's where you can hear my thoughts on movies like Turning Red, The Batman, and The Atom Project. And I finally got to check out Sing 2 and American Underdog. I saw those movies in theaters in March, and you'll be able to see my thoughts on those movies in that video. And then also I got my second channel, Storytime with Jacob, where I do book reviews and read-alongs. I just wrapped up The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which was a fantastic revisit. That's one of my favorite books of all time. I'm just starting The Woman in the Window. I am excited to read that book. I have seen the movie, which came out, I think, a year ago now with Amy Adams. Wasn't the biggest fan of it, but they always say the book's better, so hopefully I'll enjoy the book on that one.
Yeah, definitely check him out. Both the links to his social and both his channels will be in the description. I'm not going to lie, Jacob, one of my favorite videos of yours is when you force your sister to watch Cats. No one should have to do that.
That's still one of my favorite videos I've ever made. And she still gets on me. She's like, why'd you make me watch that? Because it's so bad, it's amazing. She did not think that way.
In the words of Brian Zane from Wrestling with Regret, you do it for the content. But that's for Jacob stuff. As for me, if you liked this podcast, please do hit the subscribe button and click the bell to allow notifications. This podcast drops every Wednesday, so be on the lookout for that. As far as this channel goes, we're recording this on a Monday night, which means earlier today, my Twilight Zone vlog for the episode The Trouble with Templeton just dropped about a failed, not a failed Broadway actor, but a washed up Broadway actor who walks through a door and goes back to the time when he was a success. So that was very interesting. And then I'll be reviewing a couple of new releases. I'm going to be starting my Moon Knight coverage. I'm going to be reviewing the episodes as they come out, so stay tuned for that. And then this coming Sunday will be my first reaction to the Catherine Bigelow film Point Break, starring Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze. Spoiler alert, it was really good, so be on the lookout for that. And that is all for us. That's Jacob Martin. My name is Ryan Cam. We will see you in the next one. Take care.